welcome back to East Coast DNA. I'm your host, Darcy Walsh, and today's guest is a musician, but we're going to talk about a few other things here as well. I do like to say that even though this is a East Coast music podcast, we do cover the arts because I know occasionally I venture outside of music, and in this case, we have a nice little package where you're bringing everything to the table. So, Meaghan Smith is known through the East Coast. You're award winning and you had like early placements in your career too.
Hmm.
So like the sync licensing that everyone out there that's an artist that's trying to put food on their table, that's the goal. They're all wanting sync licensing, and you have a nice history of credits there yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you took some time to sit down and chat with us today.
Oh man, thanks for having me, Darcy, and hey everybody. I'm happy to be here.
So I do want to talk about your history, but the first thing I wanted to say was congratulations on the book.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. Um, I don't know if you know this about me, but I have dyslexia and just failed my way through school, and I have always loved picture books, especially because of the pictures, but also just like books in general. And so this is a real plot twist for me to have a book in a bookstore. It's pretty exciting. So yeah,
And now, in following your career, and like I said, we'll get into your own words and that, but I do know that you based this book on a song,
yeah,
but also, as we were chatting just leading into this recording too, like you're also a mom. So I also see out there like you've been known to be an artist outside of the musician side, like as far as like the actual visual arts.
yeah,
So it's nice to see that you were able to find a way to put all of those interests together. So I definitely, there's a couple things that I can kind of extrapolate from what I read as far as your history, but I would like to hear as far as how you got into music
hmm,
and then how you were able to take that world and kind of blend together your different interests because it's something a lot of the up and coming artists, especially the younger artists that are on the show, they have a lot of ambition and there's a lot of great music that they're producing out there, but a lot of them are out there right now looking for advice. So I'm kind of
okay,
seeing some of the things that you did in your career as maybe where you're a little outside the box with some of the direction that you've done. You've taken control of things. I'm
yeah,
thinking that some of those artists out there that may be watching the show might find some inspiration in some of the
yeah.
music you've made.
Well, I mean, a lot of people helped me out and inspired me, so if I could do that for anybody else, that'd be amazing. But yeah, so I actually went to school for animation, 2D animation, so that's like drawing on paper. So that actually, oddly enough, is where I first got introduced to recording music. Because when we were doing our animation projects, we had to record sound. So one of our assignments was to animate a character speaking to this line that was, I like ice cream. So everybody had to create a character and then hire somebody to do the voice. And then we went into the studio and our actor said, I like ice cream. And then we animated our character saying that. And I couldn't believe that there was a recording studio like in the animation department. I hadn't known about it, but I found out about it. And uh, I I am like I was a closeted musician. Like I really loved playing and singing, but was super painfully shy. So I started performing by like singing in the stairwell of my college dorm and like quietly, when I thought everybody was like I don't know out or whatever, I would just like silently sneak in there and just play about it because the acoustics are so good. Um, and people started to hear me, like my roommate, and then they told other people, and people just started coming to these like stairwell concerts. And then the sound engineer from the animation department heard me singing and was like, "Come on in, I'll record you. And you can just make like a little demo." And I was like, well, all right. And so it was this real like backdoor roundabout way. Like I didn't go in saying like I'm a musician and I'm gonna do this. I like totally stumbled into it, which is kind of how I've done most of my life. So, um, yeah, that's how I first got into music, really. And then once I had this little like recording, I totally got the itch to do a lot more recording and write more songs. I was writing my own songs, and I still did animation, but I never stopped doing music. And I've kind of done both art and music all the time simultaneously. Yeah.
It's amazing to be able to do both because I know a lot of people, especially nowadays where we have to do so much social media. Like I live in that end, so I don't mind helping artists out because that's what I'm doing. But I know for a lot of artists that I know personally and people that I get to talk to, like yourself, the struggle of trying to maintain all of that and maintain a music career when you're trying to write original content and like practice so that you're on your game and keep up with gigs so that you're actually generating some type of revenue from that. Like
Yeah.
it is something that a lot of people do struggle with. So I know that you're fortunate enough that you found a musical partner that's also a partner. So you have a support structure that you've incorporated into all of that. But I do know that outside of the fact that I think that feat alone that you're able to keep both things balanced is impressive on its own. You also did take a point in your career where you kind of stepped back and said, okay, what am I doing for me here? Because I do talk to a lot of artists that have toured extensively and then it was not really what they wanted to do with their music. And I know a lot of people that, despite the fact that a lot of people, when they think immediately of bands, they think of the band that they saw at a bar sometime. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of that culture in our scene, but there are a lot of musicians out there that like that's not ever where they're going to perform. Like
hmm
there's all different types of avenues.
Yeah.
So I do see a lot of people questioning what direction they're going to go in.
hmm
And you were able to kind of take that and create your own thing, which is also
Yeah.
impressive.
Well, I've never fit in, and that always really drove me crazy, but now I'm so thankful that I never fit in because don't fit in. Like I know it's easy to say, but honestly, if I had to give anybody advice, I would say if it is not working for you, stop doing it. And
Hmm.
I know it's not that simple. I know because like there's artists who are supported by maybe spouses or partners or parents, or they have an external support. I never had that. I had to work a day job and do music to get myself off the ground. Um, and it's a hustle. It's just
Hmm.
it's just a nonstop hustle, and you can stop at any time if it's not working for you. Don't do it. Make sure you have something else like a backup. But like yeah. So after I graduated from my animation college, I moved here to Halifax because I studied animation in Ontario. I came to Halifax and I met my husband, who is my partner in life. He's my husband and my band.
I
He's
love
my
it.
producer. But and there's more pros than cons, but I would say like a huge con is that we are both doing this. So if this doesn't work, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
There's no steady, secure, we know how much we're making every month income. We are just, the two of us are constantly hustling and backing each other's projects up. And that's just the lifestyle that we've been doing it for like 20 years now. So we sort of maybe, actually, I'm not going to even say, I got to knock on some wood, but we kind of have a bit of a handle maybe on how to do this. I'm still not sure, but, um, so it's really, I wouldn't ever say that it's not balanced. Like it's like I'm constantly dropping things and failing at things and trying something else. And but I can say that I have always been able to stay attached to this, like, I don't know, this like part of me that just refuses to do things at a certain point. Like, so yeah, after I moved to Halifax, I made a record. I signed a big deal, record deal with Warner Internet, like an international record deal. We toured for 10 years. So my husband quit his job and I hired him as my guitar player and producer, and we toured for 10 years. And yeah, I was the same. Like, man, it was so hard. I found touring so disorienting and hard because we'd be gone for like 8 months, and I was with my person. I mean, there's
Hmm.
a lot of people go out without their person. I don't know how people do that, but like some people love it, right? Like some people are born for it, and that's cool. That it wasn't for me. It was really, I had so much anxiety. I was really unhealthy, and yet I'm like living everybody's dream. I got this big record deal, and I'm, like, getting awards and playing these like huge venues, and but it just was not like, this part of me that won't be quiet and won't fit in was like, no, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. So and I was just like, that's too bad. This is what we're doing. But then, after I released my second album, I started to feel really, really sick on the promotional tour,
Hmm.
and I found out that I was pregnant, which I didn't know would happen to me. It was a a surprise. It was a plot twist for sure. And I then had what's called hyperemesis, which is constant nausea and vomiting during pregnancy. So for 10 months. And as a result of that, I lost my record deal. I had to stop touring. I lost my management. I lost my booking agent. And yeah, that I think that's the turning point you referenced, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. So everything we had built went away in like 2 weeks. It was really, really crazy and devastating.
It sounds like it. Now, how, like, I know what you did afterwards, but like how did you turn that around? Because I imagine just the toll, not just the emotional toll, but just the impact of everything all at once is like you're just constantly putting out fires.
Yeah. It was like, I look back on those days, especially when we had a newborn baby, and I had a really, really horrible pregnancy, and very, very, very traumatic delivery as well. So not only was I sick for 10 months, but then my recovery was another 8 months from the birth of my son. And I just it was like, I don't know, having kids splits you in two, and things are so good and the most amazing they've ever been, and simultaneously they're the absolute worst. Like, I was like deliriously happy and in love with this gorgeous, beautiful baby, and I was really, really stressed and so like heartbroken over the loss of my career.
Hmm.
Like, it was my career. Everything was just like, it was these two severe extremes. And in the midst of um being like, going from this like lifestyle of touring and being on the road and staying in hotels to like being home every day all day, and being really sleep deprived and being in a lot of pain and changing diapers, and like it was like a real 180. I felt like I wanted to escape my life. And I also wanted to like be in my life because, as I said, I loved my baby. And we actually had a second child too after all that. I was like, I'll have one more just so the kid can have a sibling. But
Hmm.
anyway, no, we have two and we're good. But um, I really wanted to escape, and I thought, like, usually I would escape by writing songs about my life, about my stuff, but I had no stuff. Like, I had no capacity to process my own stuff. So I was like, maybe I could do this for other people. And that's when I got the idea to write custom songs for anybody. And, like we had no other options. Like I
Hmm.
said, like Jason, my husband, he had no other, he couldn't go back to his job. He had been out, he was a computer programmer and he'd been out now for like 10 years and everything changes. Same with
Hmm.
me and animation. The industry had changed. I couldn't go back to it. We could like, I don't know, work at like Walmart or something. And, I would have done that um, if that's something that spoke to me, that would have been the path for me. But it wasn't. I don't know how else to be. So I was like, let's just write custom songs and see what happens. And the response was absolutely overwhelming. And that's what we've been doing for the past 9 years.
Wow.
So yeah. So we've been slowly building our song catalog. I completely stopped touring 9 years ago, and we have been living off royalties we make. So we write custom songs for people, just anybody, like your mom or
Hmm.
whatever, your cousin. We write songs for people celebrating anniversaries or birthdays or the loss of a loved one or new babies being born, and then we retain the royalties and sell them to a publisher. Those songs then go on to make money for us on like whatever Netflix or whatever like show that they're placed in. And over the course of the past 9 years, we've gotten to the point where we, um, well, I'm not as stressed as I'm still really stressed all the time, but I'm not quite
Yeah.
as stressed as I was because we have a library of like 75 songs out in the world working for us every day. And, that's pretty great.
I can definitely relate on the not as stressed, but still stressed all the
Yeah.
time. And definitely a few touch points of your story too. A small anecdote, I almost went into digital animation way back in the
No
days too when
way.
when I was looking at post-secondary. That was a runner-up for my career choice. So I
Cool.
I can kind of as far as you talking about like being away from it and like the differences without actually being in that industry, I'm aware enough that like the changes over time. And I do work in IT, so from your husband's point of view, I get that too, that like once you lose some of that traction, it's hard to get back in there because
Yeah.
it's not even up to you. Like even if you went and studied it on the internet all day so that you felt that you were proficient, you need to get back into that flow. You need your foot in the door to get in there again too. So it's can be
Yeah.
really difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, as musicians and other artists will know, like you don't have, well, we didn't have months and months to go back to school. Like again, we had no backup. There's
Yeah.
nobody stepping in with like magical money. Like our parents aren't in that position. They help us out in other ways, but they can't bail us out like that. So I also feel like when you have nothing to fall back on, you will figure it out. You
Yeah.
simply, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily recommend that everybody just throw caution to the wind, but to your
Oh
point,
yeah,
when
no.
when you're forced into a corner, you do
But
find a
if
way
you,
forward.
yeah, if you have nothing to fall back on and something happens and you're like, it's all gone and what do I do? And nobody's gonna bail me out. You just have to figure it out. So yeah, so then we spent the next like 7 years basically raising our children full time. They stayed home with us because that was like COVID was happening and
Hmm.
um they were home full time while we were trying to record. Oh my gosh, it was like impossible because we had these like two little kids just like stomping and running around and you know trying to do vocals. So we had to do vocals like in the middle of the night when they were asleep, and oh, I was so tired.
I can only imagine just with my limited experience too, like doing some audio stuff. Like I'm fortunate that I have a few pockets in my specific apartment that it doesn't seem like I can hear the neighbors at all. So I can
Nice.
just quiet away. But the days of having little ones are behind me. So I couldn't imagine doing this while they were still running around. It'd just be a little
Yeah.
too much at times.
But again, yeah, exactly. Like like if you have kids, you know that they're just it's relentless. You can't catch up on your sleep. You can't. There's no break. There's nothing,
Hmm.
especially during COVID. But you just again, like you just have to figure it out. And I feel like that's what a lot of artists, I mean, like it's a creative industry, right? Like music is creative, and you're not just creative in what you're making, you're also creative
Hmm.
in how you're figuring out how you're going to make it, right? So I feel like a lot of us are working under less than ideal circumstances and still making amazing stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's to a degree, the being able to diversify a little bit gives you those other opportunities so that you can think outside
Yeah.
of the box.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, so while I was on tour, like those 10 years of like anxiety ridden touring, one of the ways I coped and managed my anxiety was to paint on tour. But the only way I could really do that was to have tiny little paintings that could fit in my suitcase.
mhm.
And so that's how my miniature art show was born, which I just started like finding these tiny little frames. Here, I have a couple frames I'm working on right now. So I have these like really little frames, and then I just like see who I think should be in there, and I'm like, I'm gonna put an owl or something in there, like a skunk. I don't know. And then um and then I just painted on tour and sold the paintings at my shows. So people started kind of being like, "Oh, she also paints, and she is into art too." And yeah, so the whole time that we were also writing custom songs for people, I continued to do the mini art show. And then I started to offer to do illustrations for people who were writing books because I wanted to see if I could get into writing books and authoring books and illustrating my own books too. So,
It's amazing that everything with like I know that it takes a lot of effort to be able to make that stuff. So like some of it's almost like a manifestation where you have to visualize it so that you can work towards that goal.
yeah.
But it is nice that you were also fortunate enough to have the opportunity when you put the effort in, because not everybody does. Sometimes our ideas aren't really in the right direction that things are going to be feasible. So it's wonderful that you're able to think outside the box and do all that stuff and have success. But then, despite the fact that we're talking about all of the different conflicting priorities and how that can weigh you down a little bit, you also, outside of all of that, have a Christmas tradition as well. And we have upcoming shows and a book all
Yeah,
spawned out of that. So that's a
that's right.
whole separate area
Totally.
again. So where did
Yeah.
that come from?
Well, I wanted to stop touring, and I decided that I would still love to do a show, but I wasn't gonna leave Halifax because why
Hmm.
would you? So so I was like, well, I want to do one show a year. And I love Christmas and I love Christmas music, and I'm gonna do one Christmas show a year, and that's gonna be like my live performance because I still wanted to like keep a little bit of a toe dipped in there, but the touring part was like it was kind of done for me for that time anyway. So yeah, I started doing this Christmas show in support of Feed Nova Scotia, and there were a couple years where I had really bad pneumonia and had to cancel the show. I think that happened twice. I had to call off the show twice because I got really, really sick. But luckily, my kids are through, like, bringing all the germs home, and
Hmm.
I'm going to be okay this year. Again, I'm going to knock on some wood. Um, so yeah. And at my show this year, it's December 19th and 20th at the Bella Rose Art Center, and it's going to be a fantastic show. I've got Vincenzo, the actual wizard. Do you know this? Do you know the actual wizard Vincenzo?
I
He's
don't actually.
well, let me tell you, he's from Halifax. He's incredible. He's an actual wizard, and
Hmm.
he's going to be on stage. I'm going to have some very special musical guests, and Santa Claus is also going to stop by. So that's pretty exciting.
That
It's
sounds amazing.
going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm launching my first ever picture book. Yeah.
And so now the book itself, I mean, we talked about your artwork and we talked about your music, so I can see how you've pulled everything together. But how did it actually happen? Like that like, did somebody approach you with the idea? Like, because you did do the writing and the artwork, but is it something that you
Yeah.
just thought of on your own, or where did the idea evolve from?
Well, okay, so do you mean like writing the song It Snowed when I wrote
Or
it?
making the book out of it
Okay.
itself?
Yeah. Well, I wrote It Snowed like I don't know how many years ago now. It's been out for quite a few years, like 10 or 15 years maybe.
Hmm.
Um, and it is a song that just sticks. I don't know. It was so easy to write. It took me like 5 minutes to write it. Probably not 5 minutes, but probably a half hour to write it. And it's like my most one of my most popular songs ever. And when I was envisioning like what I want to do next, I'm doing all these custom songs, which is awesome. What am I doing with my art? I've got paintings in galleries. What about books? Like I still had this like dream to be an illustrator. And so I offered to illustrate people's books. So this is how I do things. I just say, this is what I want to do. Does anybody want me to do this for you? And
Hmm.
then people say, yeah, actually I'm working on a book. Can you illustrate it for me? And I do it either for free or at a really reduced rate because I'm like, well, this is building my portfolio.
Hmm.
And I make sure it's really, really good. Like, and I really suck at things a lot until I get better at them. So I am okay at sucking at stuff. So like the first few times I tried illustrating for people, it was really terrible. And it helps to have people around you who will be like, yeah, you can beat this, you can do better than this. And that's my husband does that for me. Also my kids.
Hmm.
um, so I worked really, really hard on a couple of books for some really fantastic people who were just self-publishing. But then I had these portfolio pieces, right? And then I went into this children's bookstore called Woozles here in Halifax.
Yeah, I'm
And
familiar.
I brought one of the books I had finished and was like, I just wanted to show you guys this cool book that I made, and this author is really great. If you want to carry any copies. And they were surprised. They were like, wow, we didn't know you illustrated. And I was like, me neither, but I, it's something I'm working on. So Lisa, who's the manager at Woozles, was like, have you ever considered doing your own picture book? And I was like, yes, I would love to, but I don't know how to do it. And she's like, well, what if you could, like, what would it be? And I was like, well, I'd love to do a picture book about my song It Snowed because it's really, really popular with kids in school choirs, especially. Like I get emails from teachers every year being like, can I have the sheet music for this? We're doing it in our school choir. Because when I wrote it, I really wanted to write a song for like a unifying holiday song. Like as much as
Yeah.
I love, yeah, like as much as I love Christmas music, sometimes it's really Christmassy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not for everybody, but like if you're living in Canada in the winter, everybody's gonna experience snow,
Hmm.
and not everybody loves it, but that's okay. I put a really grumpy cat in my book so that everybody who hates the snow can the grumpy cat can relate. But um I just thought, that's what I would do. That's the book I would do. This is what I told Lisa. And then like I kind of forgot about it. And 6 months later, I got an email from Nimbus saying, "Congratulations, we've approved your idea for it." I hadn't submitted anything, but Lisa had went and gone to Nimbus and said I was talking to Meaghan Smith, and you should check out this book she did. And so again, it was like a real sort of like back way into the industry. And so now I had a book deal with Nimbus, and they've released this book for me, which I mean, it sold out on Amazon on the first day it came out, which is ridiculous and amazing. But, it feels like I'm starting all over because I kind of am. I don't, this is a brand new industry. It's really different from music in a lot of ways and really, really similar.
Hmm.
Um, I'm learning a lot, but I can't believe I have a book in a bookstore as somebody who has like debilitating dyslexia. It's really exciting, and I hope that people hear this and think to themselves, well, I mean, if she can do that, I can do whatever I want to do. There's no reason why you can't, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to say like, is this good? Like for real, is it good? And
Hmm.
if it's not very good, you can always get better. And then just make the best thing you can and just like put it out there and see what happens. It's really exciting.
It's very inspirational. So, I mean, I do hope that people listening are getting that from it too. Now, you mentioned selling out on day one through Amazon. So, for the upcoming shows, December 19th and 20th, are you going to have physical copies of the books
Oh, you
available at
know
the
it.
shows? Yeah.
You, you bet, my friend. We're gonna have so many copies, and I will sign whatever people want me to sign. It's a paperback. I'm gonna get one now. I have a few here on my desk. Um, it's backwards, but it's an inexpensive, but I'm gonna say it. I'm really, really proud of this book. It's kind of beautiful. Is that bad for me to say? It's like
No, be proud of it.
proud of it. This took me forever. Like all of these are hand drawn by pencil crayon. I mean, it took me like 8 months to do this. This is like so much work, but I'm really, really proud of it. And it's a short, like, because I have kids and they're like, is this book done yet? But I feel like this book isn't too long. So, kids can love it, and there's things to find on every page. There's like either find these little chickadee dudes, or let me show you the grumpy cat because he's like my favorite. He was so fun to draw. He's always annoyed at everything. There he is.
Oh,
He,
nice. Yeah.
so yeah, so it's a dream come true. It's something I never thought was possible for me, and I'm hoping that this is going to lead to other things too for me. But I will say, like, I started illustrating books for people probably 6 years ago. Five. I started talking about it a really long time ago. So stuff just takes time, you
Yeah.
know.
Patience is actually something that's important out there too, I think.
Yeah, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to
Hmm.
try something and be really bad at it. Just try again or do something else. It's all good.
I love that advice because I think that I'm probably guilty of not listening to that myself from time to time, but
Me too.
I do like that everything that you've done with the successes is great, but that do it yourself attitude is super inspirational, especially where I focus a lot on independent artists. It's great to hear that you're able to find your own avenues to do what you want to do the way that you want to do it.
Yeah,
It's
I think that's really key because speaking as somebody who did things with a label, which was really fantastic in a lot of ways, but I was doing things the way they thought things should
hmm
happen. It didn't work for me, and I was really stressed and unhappy. And we're creative people. Like, use your creative to wonderful life for yourself. There's no reason why you shouldn't be happy in what you're doing and fulfilled. It's not easy. I think it's worth it.
absolutely. And the show coming up, tickets are available now. So down below, I'll have all the information for anyone that's been watching along that wants to go out. Hopefully, by the time they click on it, there's not many tickets left. We've only got the two performances.
Yep, there's
So
only the two performances. One's a matinee on the Saturday, and Friday is the evening show. And yeah, I'm hoping we can like sell it out. Come support Feed Nova Scotia, and just see a really magical Christmas show.
great. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and hopefully, I see you at the show.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye, everyone.
So much.
'Cause it snowed last night. It snowed It snowed last night. Get your hat and coat and bundle up real tight. Hitch up that sled and we'll take a ride. Everybody's happy 'cause it snowed last night. Well, how merry, how bright, the snowfall turns the world into a lovely sight. It snowed last night.